Hello there, this is Ajit Navlaka. In today's video, we are talking about 7 mindset shifting questions for mindset and life coaches. As a life coach, as a mindset coach, as a business coach, as a health coach, you know mindset or how we approach life is fundamental to transforming somebody's life. Today, I want to discuss 7 questions that you could ask that will help yourself to move your own mindset into a more positive direction. And of course, this can be wildly useful in your coaching sessions while you're working with your clients around life, business, just general mindset. Now, before we get into these questions, I want to challenge your mindset of just watching a YouTube video to actually engaging in one. As you're watching this video, highlight which questions really stand out to you in the comment section below. Anytime you think this video did a great job, hit that like button and always remember to hit that red subscribe button in case you're not subscribed to this channel so you can get these great videos every single week. Now, enough of that. Let's get into real mindset shifting questions that you can use in your life coaching practice, in your business coaching practice, or your mindset coaching practice. The first question, is this an empowering mindset? Is that an empowering thought? You see, at any given situation, any given circumstance in our life, we have many different thinking patterns to choose, many different mindsets to choose from. And they're all available in our minds. They're all available as options in our mind. What we tend to do is we choose the mindset, the thinking pattern that is the most comfortable to us, the most known to us, and we tend to think in that direction. Say, for example, if you have always chosen to lean on to ice cream or chips when you are feeling sad and disheartened because that's what you saw in romantic movies and then you grew up like that and you're like, oh, if I'm sad, I must get a tub of ice cream and then eat it. And that becomes your mindset because it's easy and you've kept ice cream really accessible also in your household. What will tend to happen is that any time you feel sad, you will choose the mindset of saying, oh, I must go to ice cream for comfort. At the same time, when you have the option of choosing ice cream for comfort, you have also the option of saying, well, maybe when I'm sad, I want to talk about it to a friend. You also have the option of saying, maybe I want to go to the gym to change my physical state or go for a walk to change my physical state. You also have the thinking and mindset available to say, hey, maybe I should go for a hike because nature heals. All of those mindsets, all of those thinking patterns are available in your mind. You're choosing the most easy one, the most default one, because your brain tries to hijack your neural system and tries to get you to the most comfortable state fastest. But that doesn't mean you do not have a more empowering thought or more empowering mindset to choose from. The question you want to ask yourself when you're in a disempowering mindset is, what is the more empowering mindset to choose? What is it that will actually help me create progress in my life? What is it that will actually create progress towards the direction I want to actually lean into? So ask yourself this question. Is this an empowering mindset? The second question is, what if this was easy? I first heard this question from Tim Ferriss. This question simply explores the idea of saying, what if what you were doing wasn't this difficult? What if it was easy? How would that look like? It encourages us as coaches to look at that particular situation in a lot more easier way, as to that there was an easier path to do something. As a life coach, you can then inquire, what is the easy thing that can happen, right? What is it that I can do to make this easy? How would this particular challenge, the outcome that I wanted that seems so difficult to me right now, can be made easy? And because of this shift in perspective, as a mindset coach, now you can encourage your client to look at how to make it easy. So the second question is to ask yourself, ask your clients on what if this was easy? The third question is, what if this was to prepare me for what comes next? You see, when we are in a deep traumatic situation or a challenging situation, feels like the world is collapsing around us. As a life coach, we often enter such situations, helping our clients during this crisis that they're experiencing. As a mindset coach, you're always banging against the wall because you can't seem to change the mindset of the person that you're working with, and they can't see past their sorrow and their challenge. This is where this question comes in handy, because you encourage your client to ask a slightly different question, which is to say, yes, this is painful. Yes, this is challenging. Yes, this is traumatic. But what if this was to prepare you for what comes next? What if the current trauma that you're experiencing around your business collapsing was to prepare you for the future success that you're going to have? What if that team member that just left you was there only so you can prepare for a company that doesn't rely on just one team member? What if your current relationship is in shambles, so a better relationship can show up in life? As a life coach, as a mindset coach, if you can shift the perspective during a traumatic, challenging situation to a situation where that can be more of an experience, it will allow your clients to move past that challenge slightly more easier, to maintain a point of view that is slightly more progressive, slightly more powerful. So the third question is, what if this was happening to prepare me for what comes next? The fourth question is, what am I grateful for? How many times as we are going through life, we forget about the blessings of life, the blessings of simple things around us like electricity or comfort of a house or comfort of family and friends and so forth. We forget about things that we can be grateful for things that happen to us day to day because they happen day to day. And so they kind of go away from our vision. They go away from our point of view. If you as a life coach and a mindset coach can bring attention for yourself and for your clients towards what can they be grateful for, it will allow them to be able to look at the beauty of life, the things that they get to enjoy, the experience of life that they get to have. We have a beautiful practice in our household where every time we sit down for dinner, right before going to bed, we ask ourselves, what is it that we are grateful for today? At least 3 things that we can identify that we could be grateful for today. This practice has helped us be able to appreciate each other more, has helped us appreciate our life even more. So even if you have a rough day, a hard day, try to find what you're grateful for in that day, in that experience of life that you're having, because it is there to create a new version, more elevated version of yourself, and it'll help you grow even more. It will also shift how you're approaching life as you're closing out the day or as you're starting the day, depending on whenever you do this practice. So as a life coach, a mindset coach, definitely have that practice for yourself, but I also invite you to bring this question to your clients so they can identify the good things in life. So the fourth question is, what am I grateful for today? The fifth question is, who can I ask for support around this idea or around this challenge? As I moved to the western side of the world, I grew up in India, I grew up in a society where we are always asking each other for one support or the other. And then I moved to US and I lived in a lot of Western countries, and I found it interesting how little we ask of each other, how little we ask of our community, how little we ask for support. When we are in a challenging situation, it feels like we tend to isolate ourselves instead of reach out to community and reach out to people around us, reach out to friends, reach out to family. And it is becoming an increasing culture even in Eastern society, where we are starting to isolate ourselves when we need help. We as human beings have always lived in communities. We have loved supporting each other. One of our highest, greatest joys in life for all of us is to be able to contribute to somebody else's life. We truly enjoy that. But for some reason, we find ourselves resisting the idea of reaching out for help. As a life coach, as a mindset coach, I invite you, firstly, to do this for yourself. Ask for support. Ask, who can I reach out today? But more importantly, guide your clients that they can reach out for support. There's enough support around us. There are enough people around us that are willing to help and want to help. For that matter, they're waiting for you to say something so they can show up for you because they want to show up for you. So encourage your clients to ask this question. Who can I reach out to for support today around this challenge, around this idea, around this change in perspective that I need? So the fifth question is, who do I reach out to for support today? The sixth question I have for you that will help you shift your mindset towards a growth-oriented mindset as a life coach, as a business coach, is, where am I going? What's the outcome I seek? As we get into our day-to-day grinds, very often what happens is we are in the day-to-day grind. And so we forget the whole point of doing anything. And we stop to question the activity that we are doing. And that puts us into this place of either boredom or just constantly working and never really taking a step back and asking ourselves, why am I doing this? Why am I actually chasing this crazy deadline, this crazy process, this crazy work schedule? And because of this chase and because of the lack of perspective, when we get to the goal, we sometimes don't even recognize we have gotten to the goal. And sometimes we start moving towards a completely different direction because we forgot what the goal was. And so I invite you to bring your client's attention and their mindset towards what is it that they're going towards? What's the goal? What's the outcome? And constantly question that, because goals change, goals evolve, outcomes change, our outcomes evolve as we are creating progress, but we forget to question it. We forget to re-engineer it. We forget to ask ourselves if this is valid anymore. Ask this question to your clients so they can reevaluate where they're going and really see if what they're doing today is relevant to where they want to go. I also encourage you as a life coach to question where you are going. If you haven't evaluated the final outcome that you wanted to chase, ask yourself that question so you can question the process of getting there. Because if you don't question the process of getting there, it's very likely you'll end up building something that may not be congruent to your final goal. So ask yourself the question, which is our sixth question, which is, where am I going? What is this all leading to? Which brings me to the final question. And this is an important one and a little philosophical one. The seventh question, in how does this matter? And if this matters in the scope of life. You see, if we extend our entire life, and if we look at our whole life as one big journey, you will find that most events that seem like life-threatening and life-ending and passion-ending and purpose-ending are not nearly so. We have a big life and there are many experiences to have. The event that may be happening in your life as a coach, or the event that may be happening in your client's life, may be a small figment, a small thing that happens in the whole scope of life. And when you put life in perspective and you put an extended period of time in perspective, the current events seem like that they don't need to impact your being so much, because you can still align and realign to your final passion, to your final purpose. And there may be a little blip and redirection in the road, but it doesn't mean the road has ended. It doesn't mean that this was it and there was nothing else you can do about it. So many of us forget that we will live 70, 80, 90, 100 years old, which means we'll have a second life, a third life, a fourth life, depending on when we realize the next passion, when we realize our next purpose. And once we realize that, we would have a whole different journey for several years after that. But we need to encourage ourselves to be able to look at our events in the context of entire life so we can experience these moments when we have our second life, our third life, our fourth life, as we rediscover our purpose, as we rediscover our journey again and again and again. So the seventh question is really designed for you to realign to your purpose. And the seventh question is, in the scope of life, does this matter? In the scope of our lifetime, does this matter? So there's 7 questions that I've given you today that will help you shift your mindset as a life coach, as a mindset coach, and it will also help your clients to have a more empowered mindset that will create progress in their life. So go ahead, use these questions in your practice. If one of these questions really stood out to you, share with me in the comment section below. Hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can get a notification every single week when we post a new video for you, because these videos will definitely help you shift your mindset every time you watch one of these. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navlakha, and you're watching this on EverCoach.